Alright fellas, we just saw the return of Devin Haney, and he certainly managed to prove a lot of people wrong. Coming off one of the worst boxing performances of the year, he needed a big win, and it wasn't going to be easy against Brian Norman Jr., who was one of the boogeymen within the division. Now, this was a make it or break it sort of fight for Haney. Would he continue to stay within the elite circles, or would his career take the ultimate hit? Yet, he would end up upsetting a lot of the haters and prove that he wasn't damaged goods after all. So, after this bout, we need to break down exactly what happened in the fight, as well as what's next for both Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. Now, it's been a tough couple years for the Haneys. They had made themselves public enemy number one in the boxing world. The running, the suing, it didn't do them any favours, but with all of that, you did have to give them credit for trying to make these big fights happen, and taking this Norman fight was a risky move. Norman was the boogeyman, a KO artist, and many people thought Haney, he was done, he was damaged goods. And once that bell rang for the first round, watching Haney, I thought we might be in for a long night. He started the fight incredibly cautiously, feeling out Norman Jr. in a very quiet opening round, but everything flipped in the second. Haney was letting his jab go. He countered Norman with a sharp left hook, and moments later, he detonated a right hand that dropped Norman hard in a stunning momentum swing. Now, across the middle rounds, Haney eventually settled into a rhythm, pumping the jab, walking Norman into counters, and showcasing those sharp offensive bursts and defensive control that have defined his style for so long. He was turning back the clock truly. We were seeing more of a Haney that we were used to seeing down at 135. Rounds 3 through to 7, they largely belonged to Haney, as he consistently beat Norman to the punch and smothered his attacks. Now, Norman did have his moments, landing straight shots and bodywork, but he struggled to break through Haney's style and solve the puzzle. As the fight moved into the later rounds, Norman did find pockets of success. He picked up a few rounds late, and what he did well was staying aggressive while Haney's output dipped. But by this point, Haney knew that all he had to do really was coast, and started leaning heavily on clinching to slow down Norman's momentum. And entering the 12th, Norman knew he needed a knockout to win. He tried ripping combinations on the inside and attacking the body, but Haney neutralized him once again with even more clinching. Norman simply didn't have the answers to defeat this rejuvenated Haney, and Haney would end up taking this fight home via unanimous decision, and in the process is now a 3-division world champ. I think the knockdown honestly shocked everyone. We saw a sort of performance from Haney that we really haven't seen since the Prograis fight. Although it still isn't the most entertaining, he did what he had to do. He put on a classic Haney performance of jab, smother, reset, repeat. He dismantled a KO artist, undefeated champion. From a bloke who many said was completely washed, I think Haney did pretty well. And because of this, once again, the world of opportunities is now open for him. Haney is pretty lucky. He's within a division which has many potential big fights left for him. 147 is one of those real talent-rich divisions, and I was surprised to not see Conor Benn jump in the ring afterwards. He was sitting ringside, and I assumed the reason he was to call out Haney, but he didn't call him out and decided to instead mouth off on the broadcast saying that's not a fight he wants because Haney's boring. But if Ben is the knockout artist he thinks he is, he should be able to go in there and make it entertaining. Go in there and knock him out. But no, rather he wants to go take the easier fight against, say, Rolly. For Ben, I think Haney is probably one of the hardest fights for him at 147, and Matchroom doesn't want to lose their newfound cash cow, so I don't think ushering him into the ring to face off with Haney was really a priority. They would rather him take a bout against Rolly, Barrios or Garcia, which on paper should be an easier fight for him. Styles make fights, and I think the Haney-Ben matchup is simply one which probably won't happen anytime soon. The one which everyone wants to see though is that Ryan Garcia matchup, and I think if Ryan gets past Barrios in February, that's a real chance of happening. That's a fight the Saudis want, that's a fight which both the fighters want, and that's a fight that all of us want. This would be one of the bigger rematches in recent times, and unlike the first, both would be now world champions. This would be unification. Haney got through his fight, now Ryan just has to get through his. Both fighters need that rematch too. Haney needs it to truly redeem himself, and Ryan, he needs to prove that without PEDs he can still crack Devin, and both sides know that this is probably the biggest money fight either fighter could get currently, so I just wouldn't be surprised to see this happen next. For Norman, I reckon his team are going to reconsider a few things after this fight. He's relied on his power to get him this far, and against a true elite of these lower weight classes, you need more than just power. This fight will send them back to the drawing board, but it certainly won't be the end for him. He turned 25 today, time's absolutely on his side. And it probably would be wise for him to take a bit of time off to improve upon certain skills which let him down, but within such a packed division, sooner or later he's going to find himself in another big fight. So keep an eye out because he's probably going to be back in the mix very soon. But overall, this whole card though was a banger. Probably my fight of the night would have to go to Mason versus Noakes. That was just a good fight. If you didn't watch it, it's definitely worth going back and at least watching the highlights. Bam, he did what he had to do to get the win against Martinez and showed those levels to the game, whilst Benavidez did the job against Yard. I think everyone expected him to win, but I don't think anyone really expected him to announce that his next fight is against Zurdo. Yep, Benavidez is moving up to cruiserweight to take on Zurdo Ramirez in a move which was all fairly surprising, but when you think about it, it does kind of make a lot of sense. Bivol and Beterbiev are inevitably going to have their trilogy fight, most likely early next year, which pushes a shot for Benavidez back to at least the back half of next year, so in the meanwhile there's not too many other big names at light heavyweight for him to fight. At least no one that would command a big payday for him. Simply, Benavidez wants big fights. He doesn't want to fight the dregs of the light heavyweight rankings, so moving up and fighting Zurdo makes sense. A big Mexican showdown which, hey, will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how Benavidez adjusts to the weight. But the reason is clear why he's taking this fight. It's the biggest fight and the biggest money fight available for him now. Although, it does make me kind of sad that if this is official, Opetaia will have to wait even longer for his unification shot. I just hope he gets his chance for another belt against Badou Jack. But honestly, I think Badou Jack is hoarding his belt, praying for a Jake Paul fight after the whole AJ debacle. But Opetaia, he's in a bit of a tough situation. I do feel bad for him. But I think Benavidez won't stay around at cruiserweight for too long. He'll go up, fight Zurdo, have his big fight, and then move back down to chase the even bigger fight in a matchup against Beterbiev or Bivol. But anyway, overall, the Ring 4 card was a great night of boxing. Devin Haney is now officially back in the mix, and there are plenty of exciting opportunities waiting for him, with true redemption maybe only a fight or two away. We won't know what's next for him for probably a few months as other fights have to happen first, but regardless, he's now truly back in the mix. Although now, I want to hear what you thought of Haney's performance and what might be next for him down below in the comments, as well as any other thoughts and opinions you might have of any of the fights from this Ring 4 card. If you made it this far, I know you have a few opinions of your own, so let us know down below. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. It really does a ton to help the channel. Yet, thanks for watching fellas, and I'll catch you in the next one.